It was Christmas Eve, the kind of night when most people are wrapped up in warmth, laughter, and the smell of turkey in the oven. But not everyone. The air outside was biting, nearly 5 below the kind of cold that stings your lungs when you breathe in. I was pulling into the mall parking lot ready to grab a last-minute gift when I caught sight of something that froze me harder than the wind ever could. There was a little girl, thin coat, small hands trembling, digging through a dumpster like she was looking for treasure. Except it wasn't treasure. She was sorting through scraps of food, pushing aside dirty boxes and bags like she knew exactly what she was doing. That image, I swear, is going to haunt me forever. I slammed the door of my car and walked over, trying not to scare her. "Hey, sweetheart," I said softly. "You okay out here?" She looked up at me with these big brown eyes, sharp, intelligent, but filled with a kind of distrust no kid should ever have. She straightened her back like she had to defend her dignity. "I'm not begging," she said, voice steady. "I'm just looking for something I lost." That broke me. I crouched down. "What's your name, Naomi?" she whispered. "Naomi Carter." "And what did you lose, Naomi?" She hesitated, then looked down. "My lunch card. Without it, I don't eat again until school on Monday." Right there, anger started boiling in my chest. It was Christmas Eve. Every other kid in the city was stuffing themselves with cookies and hot chocolate, and this 12-year-old was about to go 3 days without food because of a lost piece of plastic. I asked about her parents. Naomi's shoulders tensed. "My mom works. A lot. Morning at a diner, afternoons cleaning offices, nights at some restaurant downtown. She couldn't pick me up. I was just waiting." I did the math quick. 3 jobs a holiday, and still her child was out here searching trash bins. Something didn't add up. "Which school do you go to?" I asked. "Harborview Elementary." That hit me like a slap. I knew that place. I had offered them a donation last year big enough to expand their meal program. But the principal, Deborah Whitfield, turned me down, saying they didn't need charity from outsiders who just made their money off apps. She said it with a smile like I was the problem. Now here was a kid from her school freezing, starving, all because of a card that could have been replaced with a phone call. Naomi looked up at me, biting her lip. "Principal Whitfield says kids like me bring trouble." The way she repeated those words like they'd been burned into her memory made my fists clench inside my pockets. I took Naomi home that night. 20 minutes later, she was sitting in my kitchen scarfing down lasagna, like she hadn't seen a proper meal in days. I sat across from her laptop, open mind racing. "How many times has she sent you home?" I asked. Naomi's fork froze. 6 times this semester. She even called social services saying my mom neglects me. But my mom works hard. She's just late sometimes when the bus breaks down or her boss makes her stay. It was like a deja vu I never asked for. I remembered being 17, the only Asian girl in my programming class, hearing professors mutter that I was taking up a real American spot. I'd buried that pain under years of building a business empire, but sitting across from Naomi, it came roaring back. So I dug into Deborah Whitfield's record. Salary of 90 grand a year, 12 years as principal, and then gold. 3 discrimination lawsuits, all quietly settled, every single one from minority families. This wasn't bad luck. It was a pattern. "Naomi," I asked carefully, "any other kids treated like you?" She nodded. "Marcus got told he was cheating because boys like him aren't good at math. They dumped him in a weaker class. And Sophia, she got suspended for speaking Spanish to her little sister at recess. Ms. Whitfield said, 'We only speak English in America.'" By the time Naomi's plate was empty, my plan was already forming. And then my phone rang. Unknown number. "This is Deborah Whitfield," the voice snapped on the other end. "I understand you have one of my students. She needs to be returned immediately." I looked at Naomi. Her face went pale. "How did you even get my number?" I asked. "I have my ways. Bring her back now, or I'll involve the authorities. Single mothers like you should understand there are protocols to follow." That comment cut like a blade. "What protocols?" I said, slowly let a 12-year-old dig through trash for food on Christmas Eve silence. Then her voice dripped with arrogance. "Naomi Carter is from a dysfunctional family. Troubled children don't belong in environments meant for higher standards. Naomi's eyes filled with tears. Hearing those words repeated like gospel from her principal crushed her in real time. I took a deep breath. "Don't worry," I said calmly. "Naomi will be at school Monday morning, punctually." She hung up smug. But she had just made the biggest mistake of her life, because I wasn't just a mother. I was a fighter who built a fortune from nothing. And now she had messed with the wrong kid. That night, while Naomi drew little stars on a scrap of paper at the table, I was piecing together emails, financial reports, public audits. At 2 in the morning, my blood ran cold. Deborah wasn't just prejudiced. She was stealing. Canceling food cards like Naomi's to cut costs on paper, then pocketing federal funds meant to feed kids. She'd embezzled hundreds of thousands while children went hungry. The next morning, I called Marcus Henderson, an investigative journalist I knew. The guy lived to expose corruption. "You only call me," he grumbled when he picked up when someone's about to get buried alive. "Who is it this time?" "A school principal," I said flatly, "who steals food from children and hates anyone who doesn't fit her picture of society." There was a pause. "I'm listening." By afternoon, he was knee-deep in records. Bank transfers, forged signatures, fake reports. "She's been skimming for years," he told me, his voice tinged with disbelief. Trips to Paris, a new car for her son, all on money stolen from kids' lunch programs. Meanwhile, Deborah panicked. She filed emergency papers transferring Naomi to Jefferson Alternative, the kind of school where they dump so-called problem kids. No hearing, no permission, just a letter. Naomi's mom, Denise, nearly collapsed in the McDonald's parking lot when she showed me the paper. "I work 3 jobs. I break my back, and now they're throwing my child away like garbage." I put a hand on her shoulder. "Not on my watch. She's not stepping foot in that place." By Monday morning, the trap was set. Deborah strutted into Harborview like she owned the world. Except instead of coffee on her desk, there were federal agents waiting with subpoenas. "Principal Whitfield." One agent said, "We have warrants for your financial records, your computers and documentation related to the nutrition program." Deborah's face drained of color. There must be some mistake. "No mistake," he cut her off. "We have evidence of embezzlement, falsified reports, and systemic discrimination." While agents carted out boxes of files, Marcus's article hit the front page. "Fabricated Hunger: How a Principal Stole Food from Needy Children." Photos of her house renovations, her son's new car, her European vacations, all lined up against spreadsheets of canceled food cards. And woven through it all the voices of families she'd humiliated, kids she'd pushed out, and one 12-year-old girl who just wanted to eat lunch without shame. By noon, Deborah was in handcuffs, escorted past parents who once trembled in her presence. Now those same parents were clapping, some even crying with relief. That same day, Naomi walked into a new world. A private academy with a full scholarship thanks to a little paperwork I'd slid across the right desk. Her backpack was brand new, stuffed with supplies, her lunch card loaded for the year. Watching her run across that playground, laughing, her curls bouncing, I felt something crack open inside me. Denise. Her mother no longer had to juggle 3 jobs. She'd taken a position as assistant administrator at another school, finally earning what she deserved. No more missed buses, no more empty fridge. 6 months later, Naomi was on stage receiving an award for Best Student of the Semester. Denise sat front row crying proud tears. And me, I stood in the back smiling. The Carter Lee Foundation we started together had already funded dozens of scholarships for kids written off by the system. As for Deborah Whitfield, she traded her tailored suits for a federal prison jumpsuit. 8 years for embezzlement and civil rights violations. Her house was seized, her accounts frozen, her reputation obliterated. She had spent years telling kids they didn't belong, only to end up exactly where she deserved. But here's the thing. That night, I realized revenge isn't just about tearing someone down. It's about building something better in their place, so strong that no corrupt system, no arrogant bully can erase it. And yet, here's the question I can't shake. Was it justice? Or was it just me finally having the power to do what so many families couldn't? Did we fix the system, or just burn down one rotten branch? You tell me, if you were in my shoes, would you have done the same? Or would you have walked away and let the system keep grinding kids like Naomi into the dirt? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you believe about justice, about power, about what's right when society looks the other way. And don't forget to subscribe, because there are more stories like this. Stories that prove sometimes one decision on a cold December night can change everything.